Howdy, folks. I am a neighborly yellow-shafted northern flicker noisily napping near nightingale nests.
I'm Amber.
And here are more nightingale nests for us to nap near. And folks, I just want to say that we have reached the end of our bird collection here. I'll let you pause for a second and then I'll reveal what the category was. It was winter birds.
Yeah, I think North American ones specifically.
Yeah, North American winter birds. So if you guessed that we were doing all of the North American winter birds that we could find, then you guessed correctly.
Although it's certainly not a complete list.
It is, entirely. The only.
I didn't see crows on there.
Yeah, well, maybe they don't exist in the north during wintertime. So there.
What are those blackbirds I see hanging around where we live?
They clearly aren't crows because they're not on this list. Maybe they're nightingales. Let's get started. Alright, folks, and our first letter is titled, Will I Be a Jerk for Not Pretending to Be My Twin and Covering Up Her Cheating on Her Fiancé? Throwaway account. I know how the title sounds, and I don't blame anyone for thinking that this is fake. I myself often think this when I read some of the stories on here. So, please, if you are reading this and you think that this is fake, please go to the next post because I really do need some help and some unbiased opinions. Thank you. I'm a 24-year-old female and I am an identical twin. Very few can tell me and my sister apart if you don't know us very well. I'll call my sister, for the sake of this post, Madison. Growing up, we were very poor. It was a constant struggle for my parents. I started working as soon as I could to help contribute financially towards the bills. Madison was more focused on how she looked and, to be honest, a bit of a gold digger. I was more career focused. I ended up moving to the city to live with my cousin for better job opportunities. I ended up getting a pretty good job and I decided to stay in the city, and I would send back money for my parents and grandparents who also live with my parents, which allowed them to move into better housing, or so I thought. I would visit whenever I could, and every time I visited, Madison always had a new boyfriend. She lived with her boyfriend, and according to my parents, she didn't want to get a job, so she just lived off her boyfriends. Well, 4 days ago, my parents rang me up in a panic, saying they needed me to come home. I asked why, and they said that your sister cheated on her fiancé, and we need you to cover for her. This was the first time I was hearing about Madison being engaged. They went on to say how he was rich, and he had been allowing them to stay for free in one of his parents' rental properties because of Madison. This shocked me, because they had been telling me that the money that I had been sending to them was paying for the home that they had been living in. After I blew up on them about lying to me about the money that I had been sending them, and they reluctantly admitted that they had been giving it to Madison. I was so angry. I said no, and I ended the call. Ever since then, my parents and Madison constantly tried to get in contact with me and telling me that if I don't say that it was me, that her fiancé, sister caught cheating, then my parents will be homeless and I will ruin the better life that her fiancé can provide for her and them. I've been thinking about it a lot and I don't want my grandparents to be homeless. But at the same time, I don't want to be the one to take the blame for being the one who cheated with a married man and ruin my reputation back home. Alright folks, what do you think?
No, I don't think Opie's a jerk here. I would say absolutely do not cover for your sister, or you are setting yourself up for a lifetime of further, doing misdeeds for your sister.
Well, okay. And then the audacity here. She clearly lives in the city, right? So she drove all the way back home to cheat with a married man just to go back to the city. Why not have him come to the city where it's much less likely that they're going to get caught? None of this makes any sense. Like, their whole story, it just sounds like a giant Hail Mary.
Yeah, I don't think they've thought this one all the way through. There are a lot of things that wouldn't make sense if OP was the one who was cheating and not the sister.
Yeah, so I think that OP, you don't need to take the blame for what your sister has done. And as for your parents, they could have been saving that money, putting it away in an account, but instead what they did was just spend it all. Well, they gave it all to Madison, right?
Yeah.
And why? She had a rich boyfriend, so why would she need this extra money?
Obviously, she's the golden child. So yeah, do not give your parents any more money. If you can trust your grandparents not to give your parents the money, you might give them some money for housing. But let your parents figure things out. They got themselves into the situation. Your sister got herself into her situation. It's not your responsibility.
Exactly. This isn't your fault, and it's not your responsibility. Not your monkey, and not your circus. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And our next letter is titled, Am I the Jerk for Forcing My Husband to Stay Up All Night with the baby and then making a bunch of plans the next day when he was running on no sleep? I will cut straight to the chase. We had a baby 4 months ago. I get collectively 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night, if I'm lucky. He is never up at night with the baby because I breastfeed. I'm okay with this. However, he doesn't understand why I'm so tired, and he will plan stuff for the next day and expect me to be my best self, like inviting his family over, for instance, despite me being exhausted and not wanting to entertain. He doesn't see the issue. I'm tired of communicating the issue, as I've done so multiple times, and it goes nowhere. So, the night before last, I had gotten no sleep, and the baby was up until 4 a.m., and then I was woken up at 8 a.m. with the doorbell. He invited over his mother and niece. They didn't leave until well after 3 p.m. I was mad, exhausted, etc. Well, last night, I decided that I was going to finally show him how it feels, versus tell him and see if he got the hint. I didn't tell him my plans. I kept him awake all night with the baby. All night. I intentionally kept passing her off to him every single time she got busy. She loves moving around. She fell asleep around 3 a.m. I invited my mother and siblings over. They arrived at 10 a.m. They did not leave until 10 p.m. or 2.5 hours ago. My husband was drained all day, completely exhausted, irritated, etc. Kept asking me when my family was leaving so he could relax and sleep. I didn't make them leave, however, because he never makes his family leave. Once they did leave, he said that was so annoying. I'm literally exhausted. So I said, now you know how it feels. Maybe next time you'll listen to me. Now he's mad because I devised this plan against him and he feels played. He says that I could have done anything else and that this was ignorant and petty because he's had a migraine all day and needed sleep but was expected to entertain. My family isn't as loud as yours, etc. Am I the jerk? And to add, to clear up some confusion, my mother-in-law does not come over to see the baby or help in any way. She has held the baby maybe 4 times. One of you're going to spoil her if you hold her so much, stick her in a crib and let her cry it out type of person. She walks through the door and starts immediately following my husband around, telling him how great he's doing all day. My daughter hardly knows this woman due to lack of interaction, even when she's here. So my husband screams when she's remotely close to her. So needless to say, it's of no help and it's definitely irritating. It just makes my day worse. I do not trust just to hand my baby over to mother-in-law or my husband when she's here because of her opinions on parenting. Crying it out is not okay with me, and she has tried pushing that on us several times. I own my own company for all the people pulling the "but do you work" BS. Alright folks, what do you think?
I mean, I don't think OP's a jerk, but I think that maybe it's time to find a new husband. Like, if you have to resort to this level to get him to understand that foisting his family on you all the time is not the right way to go, I think you have deeper issues.
I think they have some communication issues, and I think that definitely marriage counseling is a good first step towards working towards these issues. It doesn't seem like he respects OP. It doesn't seem like he respects her sleep or even her time, because he invites these people over when she is trying to just recover from, a hard night.
Right. He doesn't listen to her. He doesn't respect her at all. Like, none of this says that this man is a good supportive partner.
Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't immediately jump on the divorce train. I do think that there could be some salvaging this, depending on how severe things are, right?
I don't know. I'm always on the divorce train, pretty much. Like,
climb aboard the divorce train. Choo choo.
Like, the way he just dismisses OP, because it sounds like she has tried to tell him, hey, I'm really tired. Can we not do this? And he's just like, no, you're not that tired.
Yeah. So I don't think that OP was wrong to give him a taste of his own medicine. I think that this was just desserts. Maybe it was a little bit petty, but I don't think that was ignorant. And I think that certainly, he should know how he's making her feel.
Well, and if he's not listening to her, it's like she has pretty much no avenues at this point in time. Like, marriage counseling, I don't know if he's even going to listen to a marriage counselor because he's so sure that, clearly OP's not feeling this way.
Yeah. Start breast pumping, put some milk in the fridge, and tell him to feed the baby at night. I mean, if you can breast pump. I know not everyone can. I know that there are some issues with that. So, I don't know. Maybe that isn't as easy of a solution, but if that could be a solution, maybe that might help him understand more about what it means to not sleep every single night.
Yeah, well, and find other ways to balance the labor too. Like, is he really pulling his weight? Because Opie has a full-time job and is doing all these nighttime feedings and all the nighttime care. What is he doing?
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next very wacky letter is titled, Am I a jerk for ruining my wedding by telling the truth? My ex's name is Joe, his wife is Diane. Sorry, I couldn't think of any good names. Info, this incident is his wedding and it took place 2 weeks ago. I'm a 29-year-old female and I used to be in a relationship with Joe, now ex, 30-year-old male, about 2 years ago. We've completely cut contact and I was surprised to find out that he had invited me to his wedding. Now, the thing is that our relationship did not end on good terms at all. He cheated on me with Diane and then lashed out when I confronted him. Although he did not physically hurt me, I was emotionally hurt. He was swearing at me, trying to be innocent. And I had trouble trusting anyone for a long time. I now date a work friend since 2 months. I thought that he originally invited me to show off how well he was doing now, so I dressed up in a dark blue gown. I had no intention to outshine the bride at all. The wedding was fine. After the ceremony, I walked over to the newlywed couple and I congratulated them, all along with handing them a gift. He proceeded to tell her that I was his ex who he broke up with because I was super clingy. I laughed it off and I said, "You shouldn't lie, Joe. Wow, Diane, you must be so lucky that Joe cheated on me with you. I mean, I must say I didn't expect him to break off a 3-year-old relationship with me for anyone, but you must really be nice. Congrats again." My intention was to insult him, but Diane seemed really nice and cheerful. She had no clue that she was just the side chick, and I didn't want to ruin her life by living with a cheater. He had cheated multiple times before our relationship, but I thought that I could fix him. Yes, 24-year-old me was super delusional. Diane stared blankly at me, but didn't think much of it. I had the food and I left in an hour or so. I just got a Facebook notification 2 hours ago that they're divorced, and my ex texted me with a message that reads, "What is wrong with you? You're a jerk. You ruined my wedding. And you don't like seeing me happy. You're ridiculous. I loved her. I do feel guilty for some reason though. Am I the jerk? Edit, I only wanted to attend the wedding to show him what he was missing and somehow save Diane." Alright folks, what do you think?
I mean, I don't think Opie's in the wrong for correcting the record. You know, he did not make a wise choice to invite his ex to his wedding that he cheated on. Like, that seems like poor planning on his part.
Well, okay. I also want to know, why didn't OP reach out to Diane a long time ago and say, "Hey Diane, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I'm breaking up with my partner because he's cheating on me with you," right?
Well, that's the thing, is like, it seems like if OP just did this to get revenge on him, I do not buy for a second she was trying to save Diane. I think she just wanted to rub it in his face.
Yeah. So I think if OP was really trying to save Diane, she should have saved them the trouble of having this relationship get all the way to the point of getting married and then crashing it and being like, haha, yeah, look, he's a cheater type of thing, right?
Yeah, so I certainly don't think Opie handled this the best, but I also, like, because, yeah, she could have just messaged Diane or something before the wedding and been like, "By the way, do you know this man's a serial cheater?"
Yeah.
But so I don't think for a second that Opie had altruistic motives. But, you know, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with correcting the record either.
No, I don't think that there was anything wrong with correcting the record in the moment when he said that. Like, I think that that's fine. But again, like you said, I don't think that there's altruism here. I think that OP went specifically to be petty and look for an opportunity to say something. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our last letter is wholesome. Wholesome? My husband made me cry tonight. You might be asking yourself, how can we make this one wholesome, Brian? I was cooking our dinner, which I do every night because I love cooking, and I accidentally burned the pork burgers. I didn't mean to, but I got distracted trying to make the sides. I felt so defeated trying to open the window to get some of the smoke out, and my husband walked into the kitchen and stared at me. I just looked at him like I don't know what to do. He walked over to me and kissed me on the forehead and told me that he appreciates me cooking dinner for him every night. He told me that we can just scrape the burn parts off, no harm, no foul, and he was so excited to eat the dinner that I had made. I burst into tears. He's the most loving, caring, and kind human being that I know, and the little things, like tonight, just make me so happy to have him. I grew up with a mom that blew up about everything, and my husband heals that part of me that feels like I can't do anything right. He's truly my favorite person. That's all. Nothing major, but I wanted to get it out there. Alright folks, what do you think of this lovely story?
So wholesome. I'm really glad that OP has found a partner who makes her so happy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's much more to say beyond that. I think that it shows a really healthy, happy relationship. He's not holding this against her, and, mistakes are mistakes, right? Now, if she went out of her way to purposely burn stuff, I could understand him being frustrated, but they both seem like lovely people.
Mm-hmm.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care, and good luck. Meow, right, folks, it's tea time. Grab your meowverages of choice, and I've got some tea right here. We're gonna drop the meowing, and Amber has a joke.
Where do zombies prefer to shop?
Well, I would say zombies probably prefer to shop at the morgue.
Dead, Bath, and Beyond.
That's actually pretty good. I like that. I think that was probably better than any of Jovial Bobstein's jokes. And I have Mega Mint tea.
And I have a bookish announcement.
Oh yeah, Amber has another bookish announcement.
Yeah, so recently one of my short stories was accepted into the Writers Retreat anthology, which is a writing-based horror anthology. So pretty much everything that can go wrong as a writer.
Yeah. And then also, I was supposed to post a link to Amber's pre-order for the
Reader Beware.
And so I will hopefully remember to post that today. I just kept forgetting.
Yeah, that one's coming out on February 17th. Reader Beware that's the Fear Street inspired one.
Yeah.
I just finished reading the ebook earlier this week because, my publisher sent us an advanced copy, and it's really fun. I don't know. I really liked it. I thought it was great. So.
Yeah. And that one is, again, another anthology. It's a collection of stories, and Amber submitted one, and she had one accepted. So hopefully if you end up reading that, you enjoy it. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday, Junior.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Thanks so much to Amber for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it some wholesomeness.
When you can, be kind.
I think that's some of the best advice that we've had on this channel. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
Meow, right? Meow, right, folks, it's tea time. Grab your meowverages. Meowverages?